Hey guys, it's Danielle. Today I'm going to be doing the cardiovascular and pulmonary checklist video. I've got my lovely patient here, Nick, who's volunteered today. I told him that I'm going to let him leave his shirt on for this video. If that's not acceptable, please let me know before Sunday so I can make a new video. But for tonight, we're going to have him leave his shirt on because I can palpate and still be able to find my landmarks. So to start off, I know you aren't going to be able to see me very well, but the video is not about me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at Nick. I'm going to visualize his thoracic cage. I'm going to palpate just because he does have his shirt on, and I'm also going to see if my palpation causes him any pain at all. Nick, tell me if that hurts at all or anything. Okay.
Yep, feels good.
Okay. So I don't palpate any masses, and he's non-tender. And watching the way that he breathes does not tell me that he's in any current respiratory distress. He's not like hyperventilating. If I wanted to, I could have him take his shirt off and see if he's using his intercostal muscles to breathe. But nothing about him or his skin color tells me that he's having any issues breathing currently. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to assess for something called tactile framiness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the exterior portion of my hand. I'm going to place it in between the bones. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you say 99 whenever you feel my hand on your chest.
99. 99. 99. 99. 99. 99.
Okay, Nick, I'm going to have actually you turn around and have your back to the camera. And we're going to do the same thing with back here, okay?
99. 99. 99. 99. 99. 99.
Okay. So what I'm assessing for is even vibrations on both left and right sides and anterior and posterior. The vibrations felt even to me. While you have your back turned to the camera, I'm going to do something called percussing your posterior lung fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my middle finger. I'm just going to tap lightly. And whenever I came down here, what I noticed is that I actually palpated over a rib, and the sound that came from it was more dull than the nice Renaissance sound that I heard up higher. So that lets me know that the Renaissance sounds mean that his lungs are full of air, versus whenever I hit the rib down here, that's a more dense sound, letting me know that there's something in the way of the air, or that there's something else in the lung field other than air itself. So before I go ahead and listen to all your lung fields, I'm going to perform another test. It's called bronchophony, I think is how you pronounce it. And what I'm going to have you do is whenever you feel my stethoscope on your back, Nick, I'm going to have you say 99 again.
Okay. 99. 99. 99. 99. 99. 99.
So when I auscultate Nick's posterior side, all that I'm hearing is vibration. With my stethoscope, I can't tell that he's saying 99. However, externally, I can still hear that he is saying 99. So the next test that I'm going to have you do is called the whispered pectriloquy, I think is how you say it. And what you're going to do, Nick, is when you feel my stethoscope on your back, you're going to just whisper 1, 2, 3 out loud, but not extremely loud, okay? Okay. So the only way that I could tell that he was saying 1, 2, 3 is the fact that I could still see his mouth moving. And the last test that I'm going to perform is kind of referred to as like the EA test. So when you feel my stethoscope on your back, I'm going to have you say just the letter E in a normal voice.
E, 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 E.
Okay. So all three of those tests, what I'm auscultating for is whether or not the lung sounds, like whether or not I can hear through your lung sounds or whether I cannot hear through your lung sounds. So when I listen for the EA change, if I can hear E, that lets me know that your lungs are full of air. However, if it sounds more dense, like an A, that would tell me that there's something else in your lungs, such as fluid or buildup. Also the same with listening for 99. If I can hear it clearly, your voice is transmitting fine. If I couldn't hear it, or no, since I heard vibrations, that's normal. If I heard 99, that would be abnormal. Also the same with 1, 2, 3. I couldn't hear you, but if I heard you whisper 1, 2, 3, that would let me know that sound is being transposed through the tissue because there's something dense in there. So finally, what I'm going to do, Nick, is I'm going to listen to your posterior lung fields, and I'm also going to come around to the front and listen to your anterior lung fields. And all the tests that I just performed could actually be performed posterior and anterior. For the sake of the video, though, I'm just going to perform the posterior sides to show that I do know the process of these tests. So Nick, I'm going to have you sit up, and I'm going to have you bring your arms up in front like this. Okay. And when you feel my stethoscope, just take a big deep breath for me, okay? Perfect. And I'm going to have you spin around, that way the camera can see the front side of your chest this time. And you can relax your arms, so I'm not going to go into them this time. Just breathe whenever you feel my stethoscope. Okay, for winded or anything.
So good.
Okay. So all of his lung sounds were vesicular. I didn't hear any sort of like wheezing, no rhonchi, no sort of crackles. Basically, I would effectively be able to say that his lung sounds were clear. So that concludes my pulmonary aspect of the video. I'm now going to go ahead and move on to the cardiovascular portion, which is a little bit briefer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to point out the valves of the heart. I'm going to palpate and auscultate the carotid pulse and also the apical pulse for a full minute. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm just going to have you relax your neck up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find this carotid pulse, which is very easy to find. It's just right beside the esophagus and the trachea. And you never want to occlude those at the same time. If you do, there's a risk that you will occlude blood flow to the brain. Okay. And now I'm going to flip my diaphragm over and I'm going to use the bell. And using the smaller side of the stethoscope actually proved easier for me to listen than using the other side. So Nick, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you turn just a little bit so that the camera can see this side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to auscultate Nick's left the apical pulse on this side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the 5th intercostal space, and I would listen for a full minute to get an accurate pulse reading. So I'm actually going to go up under his shirt. and I'll show you guys just real quick. It's going to be just right under the nipple line, down one more space, and then off to the side. His pulse is nice and strong. It didn't sound like there was any murmurs at all. The fact that, because my fiance, I get to have a nice little health history about him, and I know that he doesn't have any heart murmurs on any of his family and him himself. So Nick, I'm going to have you turn and face the camera so that I can point out some landmarks. I am going to have you take your shirt off just for this part, just because it'll be a little bit easier to show the camera what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to start off with is we're going to label what I'm finding. So second intercostal space, mid-clavicular line, this is going to be the pulmonic valve. Come straight across, and that's going to be your aortic valve. Down to the third is the mitral valve. Come down again, which is going to be tricuspid valve. You're going to come laterally a little bit more. This is going to be your PMI, or point of maximal impulse. So next we're going to listen. We're going to use both sides of the stethoscope. I'm going to go actually in a backwards motion since I just listened through. And listening with the bell of the stethoscope actually proved that the heart sounds came in much clearer. They were much more prominent, much louder. They were much easier for me to hear and see. Nick's pulse rate was running right about 60 to 70. He's a pretty active guy, so it's normal for his pulse rate to be a little bit lower. So that concludes my cardiovascular and pulmonary checklist video.